Courtesy of demand from several viewers, today we are going to be having an in-depth comparison review on two compact hatchbacks in the Kenyan market. These are vehicles that will move you from point A to B, but with a bit of performance. They are small cars that are a bit more agile and sporty compared to the other basic variants. I'm talking about the 2017 Suzuki Swift RS and the 2017 Toyota Vitz RS GS. We are going to dissect these two cars in a bid to find out which one will offer you the best value for money, as well as give you the absolute best ownership experience. So please stay tuned for that. Mechanically, the Vitz RS is not really that different from other variants of the Vitz. It's just that it has better aggressive styling on the exterior. Then in the interior, it has sporty accents to make it feel sporty. It also has a sports tuned suspension and more features than the other conventional Vitz. The Swift RS, on the other hand, is something else. It's different both mechanically and aesthetically. Let's dissect these cars in a short while. Now, in addition to car reviews, we also offer in-depth independent reviews, car consultation, and sourcing of new and local used cars. Welcome to iCave Auto Reviews. So the 2017 Suzuki Swift is the third generation, which was in production from 2016 till 2022, while the 2017 Vitz is the third generation, which was in production from 2010 till present. Now let's begin with what powers up these two cars. In the Suzuki Swift RS, you get a 1000cc 3-cylinder engine that churns out around 109 horsepower. There is a mild hybrid version of this engine that adds 3 horsepower to make a total of 112 horsepower. Now, this engine can come coupled to either a conventional 6-speed automatic or a 6-speed manual. The engine itself is quite small, but the addition of the turbocharger really helps in making this car feel quite fast. Something else is that it's a very light car, so the power to weight ratio is very decent. And no wonder it really moves despite having a small 3-cylinder engine. Speaking of the 3-cylinder engine, they are normally not so refined, and this is especially seen during idling. There's normally a bit of vibrations, but in this Suzuki Swift RS, there's almost no vibrations at all, to the point that if you are not told, you can never know it's a 3-cylinder. Even when you drive it, you just can't tell it's a 3-cylinder. It feels quite powerful. In fact, there's more than enough power from lower down the RPM. Now, the mild hybrid option is a bit more powerful. This mild hybrid system is composed of an electric motor that Suzuki calls ISG, or Integrated Starter Generator. This ISG is powered by batteries which are charged as the car decelerates and brakes. This is what is known as regenerative braking. In addition to boosting acceleration, those batteries also help to power the electrical components of the vehicle, such as the AC and smartphone connectivity, thereby relieving the engine of powering all those electrical components, and hence also increasing the efficiency. Reliability wise, it's very good. It's not a complicated car at all. Yes, the turbo means that additional maintenance is required, but by the way, it's a very small turbo. So even though it's a forced induction system, the small engine is not too much strained because that turbo is small. Now, there are also other engine options which are available in other variants of the Swift. There's a 1.2-liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine which gives out about 82 horsepower. Then the mild hybrid option of this engine adds 3 horsepower to make it 85. There's also a 1250cc 4-cylinder which is again naturally aspirated. It produces 90 horsepower. Then the mild hybrid option of the same engine bumps the power up to around 93 horsepower. Lastly, in the Swift Sport, there's a 1.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that churns out 138 horsepower and 141 horsepower for the mild hybrid variant. So in essence, there's a mild hybrid option in all these engine options, and the most powerful option is that 1.4 turbo available in the Sport variant. Apart from the two transmission options I mentioned earlier, you can also get a CVT in the naturally aspirated engine options. Then there's also a 5-speed manual and a 5-speed automated manual transmission. And surprisingly, all-wheel drive option is only available in variants with the CVT gearbox. Generally, all these engines are pretty reliable and are very easy on the pocket in terms of maintenance. Efficiency wise, the 1 liter turbo RS can give up to around 17 kilometers per liter. It's such a frugal engine and strikes a perfect balance between power and efficiency. The 1.2 liter can give up to 19 kilometers per liter, the 1.25 around 18 kilometers per liter, and the 1.4 around 15 kilometers per liter. Let's now move on to the Toyota Vitz RS GS. Going by the name, you may think it has a powerful turbocharged engine like the Swift RS, but you'll be wrong. The RS comes with a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine that produces 107 horsepower, and this power is delivered to either the front or all wheels via a CVT gearbox with 7 preset gears. In fact, it even has paddle shifts, which are just there to make you feel like as if you're changing gears, but in actual sense you are really not. There's also a 5-speed manual, but it's quite rare. Reliability wise, this being a naturally aspirated engine, it's just bulletproof, very dependable and affordable to maintain. Nothing much goes wrong with these 1NZ Toyota engines. Now, aside from the RSGS variant, there are other two engine options in the normal Vitz, a 1 liter 3-cylinder which gives out 68 horsepower and a 1.3 liter which gives out 94 horsepower. The 1.5 liter in the RS can return about 16 kilometers per liter, the 1 liter around 20 kilometers per liter, and the 1.3 up to around 18 kilometers per liter. By now, we can already see that Suzuki Swift RS has an upper hand in terms of performance as well as efficiency. It's more powerful than the Vitz RS, yet it's still more efficient, and even in terms of the driving dynamics, take it from me, it's better. It handles really well. Something else that makes the Swift RS feel faster is its lightweight, as we will see later. The Vitz is a bit heavier. The Swift has a 37-liter fuel tank, while the Vitz has a slightly larger 42-liter fuel tank. As for ground clearance, the Swift measures in at 120 millimeters, which is very low for Kenyan's roads, and it's this low to give good handling dynamics. But here in Kenya, you may have to install slightly larger wheels, or if you want, you can also modify the suspension to make it more drivable on our roads, which have excessively huge bumps. On the basic trim levels of the Swift, the clearance is a bit better, measuring in at 140 millimeters. Onto the Vitz RS, the clearance is a bit better, coming in at 140 millimeters. Not too bad, but still you may not escape installation of larger wheels. Stopping power in both vehicles is made possible by ventilated discs at the front and solid discs at the back, but other basic small engine variants of the Vitz get drums at the back. As for the suspension setup, the Swift RS gets McPherson struts at the front and coil springs at the back. That setup has been tuned to strike a balance between comfort and good sure-footed handling, and it's actually better than the Vitz, which is just a bit firm. It gets strut-type coil springs at the front and torsion beam at the back. It's not too bad, but if you drive these two cars back to back, you'll notice the difference. How about safety? The Swift RS comes better equipped than the other basic variants of the Swift. The RS gets standard features such as 4 airbags, traction control, ABS, EBD, hill hold assist, and collision mitigation. Then the optional features depending on the trim level within the RS range are rear cross traffic alert, blind spot detection, and adaptive cruise control. So it's good in terms of safety. The Vitz, on the other hand, gets standard features such as driver and passenger airbags, ABS, EBD, traction control, and collision mitigation. The optional features, again depending on the trim level in the RS GS lineup, are side airbags, auto high beams, and lane departure alert. Again, not bad. They are both safe vehicles, especially the high spec ones. The Swift RS weighs in between 840 to around 1025 kgs, while the Vitz RS weighs between 970 to 1130 kgs. So as I said earlier, the lightweight of the Swift really favors it in terms of performance and efficiency. Now, some of the extra features you can expect to get in the Swift RS include sportier 17-inch alloy wheels, 360 degrees parking camera, cruise control, red interior accents, and a navigation screen with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Onto the Vitz RS, you can expect to get cruise control, heated seats, sportier alloys, body kit, automatic AC, and steering mounted audio controls. Again, remember the features you get will depend on the trim level. Lastly, let's talk about the prices of these hot compact hatchbacks. A 2017 Swift RS will currently set you back anywhere between 1.15 to around 1.4 million, while a 2017 Vitz RS is going for roughly around 1.5 to around 1.65 million, or even slightly more. So it's quite expensive. The normal Vitz are way more affordable, but this RS is just above the roof in terms of the price. We will talk about value for money in a short while as we wrap up the video. Now on to their exteriors and interiors designs. Looks are subjective, but do let me know which one you would prefer in terms of the exterior design. Personally, I think they both look aggressive and sporty, though I tend to be more inclined towards the Swift RS. Suzuki did a good job in trying to make it look both sporty and elegant. Onto their interiors, this is where the Swift really loses. It's just cramped up. The rear seat space is not good. In fact, even the demi is better. The boot is again too limited, not much can fit back there. At the front, it's a bit better. The seats are comfortable enough. The dashboard design and layout is simple but very good in terms of functionality. The quality of materials is all plastic, but that's not a problem. This is not a luxury car. The AC controls are quite nice. They feel tactile and of good quality. Generally not bad. It's only the limited interior space that does this interior an injustice. Moving on to the Vitz RS, again the design is basic and simple, not much to talk about, though the Swift's interior seems a bit better. Space-wise, it's much better than the Swift. At the back, the space is not as huge as that in the Nissan Note or Honda Fit, but still, it's much better than the Swifts. The same can be said about the boot. So generally, the Vitz wins in that regard. Finally, the pros and cons of each car. Now, both cars are extremely reliable, efficient, affordable to maintain, and they also have good resale value, especially the Vitz RS. That's about it in terms of their similarities. The Swift RS has more pros worth pointing out, such as the performance. It has a 3-cylinder 1000cc engine that is quite powerful and gives an engaging drive, yet it's still efficient compared to the larger 1.5 liter in the Vitz. In fact, the combination of that turbo engine, automatic gearbox, and suspension tuning have given the Swift much better driving and handling dynamics compared to the Vitz. Another important pro in favor of the Swift is value for money. 1.4 million, for 1.4 million, you get a car with quite a lot of features that you cannot get in the more expensive Vitz RS. It may seem like I'm favoring the Swift, but that's not the case. It's just a matter of looking at things the way they are. Why pay 1.65 million for a Vitz RS, yet the Swift offers more power, better performance, efficiency, and features at 250,000 shillings less, unless you really like the Vitz RS. Onto the cons, the Swift is quite small in terms of the interior space, and this may put off some people. It's not an ideal car for a family of, say, 5. It's best suited for a small family, say of around 3 or 4 members who are not that tall. The other con is low ground clearance. Onto the Toyota Vitz, it's quite overpriced. In fact, at that asking price, you can get even better vehicles. The other con is low ground clearance. So with all that said, this is my final verdict. If space is not among your top priority, and you fancy good performance and also want to save yourself over 200,000 shillings, then without a second thought, get the Suzuki Swift RS. On the other hand, if you really need space, then get the Vitz RS, or even better, get the Honda Fit RS. Now you may ask, which is better between the Swift RS and the Fit RS? That can also be an interesting comparison, but just to let you know, the Swift RS still drives better than the Fit, though the Fit will beat it in terms of the interior space and practicality. That's a review for another day. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope this has been helpful. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments section. As always, if you have any enquiries, feel free to reach me via WhatsApp or email. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to continue getting informative content on cars and bikes. That's it for this episode. Stay safe, ride and drive safe as we approach this Easter holiday.